Now, for today's opening keynote, please join me in welcoming the Chief Data and Analytics Officer at Colgate-Palmolive, Diana Schildhouse, and the SVP of Tech Strategy and Emerging Technology for Walmart Global Tech, Desirée Gosby. Diana and Desirée will be interviewed by Hyve's President of Connected Commerce, Zia Daniell Wigder.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. And we have a rather lofty topic that we're diving in today. We've got 20 minutes to unlock AI, and we're going to do our best to do that. And two great speakers here. We're going to divide our session into two. So we're going to start out talking about some of the internal use cases. Then we're going to pivot kind of during the second half over to talking about how both Walmart and Colgate are preparing for some of the external changes that we see happening in the market today. So I'm going to start out very general, and I'm going to ask both of these folks how their organizations have determined kind of what to do with AI. How'd you decide on the use cases? And then we're going to dive into those for just a minute. So Desi, do you want to kick off?
Yeah, happy to. Yeah, and I'm going to take it a little bit from the technology perspective, if you will. But I mean, Walmart's been doing AI for quite some time. It's just the way I look at it, it's part of our DNA. And we're clearly at an inflection point with everything that's happened with Gen AI and now with Agentic AI. And for us, it's a pivotal moment and an opportunity for us to really reinvest in how it is that we actually work and how it is that we actually produce the experiences for our customers, members, and also for our millions of associates. And so when we take a look at it, and we took a step back, it was really a problem of scale. How do we make sure that we actually are able to scale to all the different use cases, all the different problems that we can solve when you're in a world where you've got thousands and thousands of different agents that you have access to, and making sure that actually runs and operates quite smoothly. And so our focus has been on putting together a framework around how we do this so that we, one, remove the cognitive burden for any of our users in terms of which agents they need to access to get their problem solved. And then two, putting in a framework to make sure that we're actually able to scale our existing capabilities and operate that in a way that is operationally sound. And so our approach has been to take a look at all of our stakeholders. We have what we call 4 different super agents that act as our entry points. And we have one for our customers and members. We have one for all of our associates, one for all of our partners that do business with us, suppliers, sellers, advertisers, and then one for our developers, the folks that are actually building all these different solutions and making it easier and efficient for them. And so any place where there's an opportunity to move better, smarter, faster, and create a better experience, that's the place that you go, and it will make it simple and easy for those stakeholders. In addition to that, we've got something that we call an agentic middleware, and that middleware, and that is really focused on how do we take all of our platforms and capabilities and add things like context and memory and all the things that you actually would need to basically create natural language experiences, and taking all of our different platforms and allowing you to create dynamic workflows. So all of that together is what we've been focused on, and that again is helping us to really just scale across. And in fact, we've announced 2 of our super agents already. One called Sparky, which is focused on our customers and members, and it is live today and is helping our customers with answering questions about products and giving them more confidence to buy. But there's much more to come, which we'll talk about later. And then YB, which is helping our developers with building all the different solutions and helping them to do that much faster in this new world. So.
Okay, great. Whole lot in there. We're going to come back to a bunch of those things in just a minute. But let's hear from Diana and what's happening at Colgate.
Sure, yeah. So with Colgate, it really started with our enterprise strategy or our business strategy. So we didn't start with forming an AI strategy or a sort of a tech-first approach. It was really looking at what areas of our business strategy could be advanced through applying any technology, AI in this case, and how can we drive growth and efficiency. So one of the first areas that we looked at a couple years ago, 2.5 years ago, when Gen AI was first emerging, was innovation. So new product innovation, which is a critical component of our strategy and our company growth. So within that space, we're using AI to synthesize tens of thousands, in some case hundreds of thousands of data points across, whether that's consumer insights that we're conducting worldwide, trend data, other market data, to help us understand unmet consumer needs. And then we built a proprietary AI engine that creates product concepts, new ideas that fit those consumer needs, along with marketing copy and images and pack and everything associated with that. And then we also built digital twins to test those products with. So we always test with actual people before we're launching anything. But that just gave our marketers just sort of a quick early read on, which innovations had the most potential, what were some of the challenges, where did we need to further iterate. So all of that together within innovation is really rapidly speeding up our process and just helping us bring even better products to market.
Okay, great. So Desi, going back to you, you said there were 4 buckets. Let's see if I can remember them. They are consumers, associates, partners, and developers.
Yes.
All right. How did you decide on those 4? Sort of top down, bottom up? What did that look like?
Yeah, it was definitely a tops down in terms of how we looked at it. And it aligns very well with how it is that we already operate our business. But we aligned on that at the top. As you can imagine, Walmart's a huge company. We had lots of developers. They were already going off and building lots of different things. And so in order to get a handle on it, we knew that, from a strategy perspective, we needed to take a step back and figure out how do we help to, put and frame all of this work before it got, too far out of hand, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. When we were talking before, you said there was some bottom up, though.
Yes.
When you think about the hundreds, if not thousands, of different AI initiatives that you have internally, how do you surface that type of innovation?
The way we look at it is it's kind of 2 different types of innovations. Like anybody, it's everyone's job to innovate, basically. So anyone can come, with an idea. And it's really just thinking about, making sure that you understand the problem that you're trying to solve, making sure that it's customer back, and making sure that it's and understanding the size of the impact. So you as a developer can innovate, for yourself to make something, more efficient. But as you start to sort of move up the chain, if you will, it really becomes, okay, how do we look at those key insights or problems that our customers are having, that our associates are having, and then really taking a step back and thinking, okay, how can we do this better? And to Diana's point, it could be anything, but in this case, we've now got great new tools with AI. So how can we do this better, with AI? And so, we do this through the ways that we work. We have, multiple teams that are working together, design, product, business, and tech, that are constantly looking at these problems and these insights, and then looking at new things and things that we should experiment with. And then, individually, because we've put these tools in everybody's hands, anyone is encouraged to actually go off and actually, innovate and, find new and different ways of doing things. And then there's all these sort of what we call 4-in-the-box teams that you can go to talk about if you feel like it's a problem that's big enough, to go with, any of the 4 sort of different
stakeholders that we talked about. So.
Okay. How about at Colgate? Top down, bottom up, both?
Very similar, both.
Okay.
Both. And so, for Colgate, we operate in more than 200 countries and territories around the world. So if there weren't a top-down aspect to that, you can easily see that it would get to something that I call pilot palooza, which is just a lot of different experiments that are, not really going to drive scale and impact, which is what we need from AI initiatives. So in terms of top-down, the enterprise priorities, innovation is one example that I gave of that. Those are driven from the center. Those are areas where we're looking to drive more growth, more efficiency in a level that will impact the company overall. But similar to what Desi said, we also want to put these tools in the hands of our people all around the world and let them look for their own personal productivity or just ways that it can help their teams as well. And so we've done that in a way that is a sort of safe way. We built we call an AI hub internally, which is sort of our internal version of of ChatGPT or Google Gemini, both partners that we work with, where our employees can put data in, they know it's safe, it won't go out and train the models, it won't get out to the internet, but they can experiment with that. And there's a variety of other tools. And in fact, we're really encouraging that as well, that experimentation. We have a training program, we have best practices that we share, because we found that really, the impact comes when you bring your whole organization along with that. And, it's hard at first to get started with some of these things. So we try to really show all the different ways you could use this. So we make sure we get that bottoms up too.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about product innovation, how you're both using it. You've both touched on it a little bit, but would love to hear more about how your two organizations are using it to develop, whether that is new products specifically or new experiences.
Yeah, I know
Anyone
first
can jump in.
So, it's been a really interesting journey, and I could talk a little bit about the journey we're going on with Sparky, and we did a survey a few months ago, just asking some of our customers about what they think about AI, and one of the sort of delightful sort of insights that we got out of it is just how much customers are starting to trust AI more and more for some of the decision making that they have. And that was really encouraging. And so as we really take a step back and look at, how it is that we think about our product experiences, we also know, one, that when you're using AI, you're asking more and more complex questions. And with that in mind, how do you start to build an experience that is agentic first, where you're not, breaking things down into a search bar and trying to do a search for something, but you're starting with a much more complex problem, like I need to plan a birthday party for my 6-year-old who likes unicorns, and instead of having to go and actually search for the food and then for the decorations and then for the gifts, we create an interface that basically dynamically changes and automatically has all the things that you might need for that, and then helps you through that process and really truly solving that problem for you. And so those are the sorts of things that we're trying to do from a product experience perspective, is really what's that key problem that ultimately that our customer or members or associates that they're trying to solve. How do we remove friction from that, and then leverage AI to do that in a new way. Our retail experiences haven't changed for the better part of 20 years, and I think now we're going to see what we call, and what the industry calls generative UX kind of explode, where you're really starting with somebody just expressing what it is that they need, and then dynamically the experience changes for them. So.
And you, product innovation at Colgate?
Yes, one of our most important areas that we've gone after. And I love, Desi, what you said about removing friction, because that's how we look at this in terms of the internal process around innovation. So, what the tools that we've built have let our marketers do is just produce so many more ideas to experiment with, to test in the finite amount of time that we have to put against this. And so speed has really been one of the best outputs of bringing AI to this process, as well as creativity, I would say, because we're seeing also more creative ideas as we have, we always talk about human in the loop. So as we have our marketers work with these AI tools, the ideas that are coming out of it are actually, in some cases, testing better as well. And I'll just add on that in terms of innovation, it's so important to us as a company and something that we see as a competitive advantage. And so that reason is why we built these tools internally for this. There are plenty of other areas and use cases where we work with great external partners, but for us, for innovation, it was important enough that this was something we needed to build internally. And it also gives us the ability to scale globally across all of those geographies I mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus one to that. So yes.
All right, one more question before we pivot to sort of the external shifts, and that is about the infrastructure. Infrastructure meaning, your org structure, the data protection you need to have in place. How do you think about that? And here, I'm going to start with you.
I'll go first on this one.
Yeah.
So if data was not critical to everything that we're doing in analytics and in predictive AI before, it absolutely is critical now. So, that's things like data governance, data quality, data catalogs, things that we do internally to build data products and make them, available to sort of feed the different types of models or the different types of AI we're using. But that also extends, I'd say, to data partnerships, whether it's with our retailers or setting up clean rooms. And I think we will get to a future where a lot of these tools and technologies that we're talking about right now will be ubiquitous, and it'll be this quality of your data that actually is a competitive advantage and sets that apart. And so this is a journey that Colgate's been on to strengthen our data foundation the past several years. And I would really say, I say just in time, glad we made that decision then, because it's critical for all the success we're all trying to build with AI.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus one to everything that Diana said. It definitely starts with that data foundation, and making sure that you've got clean data that you have access to. The only thing I would add to that piece of it is just also, I think what this world opens up is just access to other types of data that you can start to bring in that might be more unstructured, that you can start to take advantage of as well. But in addition to that, I think the other foundational thing is also getting your platform or your services house in order as well. And because at the end of the day, when we were talking about agentic systems, we're going from these static workflows to workflows that are going to be dynamically orchestrating different services, to get and accomplish, the work that needs to be done. And so we're spending a lot of time on making sure that we've got, the right set of tools and platforms and capabilities, and ideally one of those things instead of multiples of those things, and making sure that they're global ready, so that as we start to add on the agentic layers, we can start to take advantage of that goodness, no matter what the context the user is in, no matter where it is that they are, because we are a global company, and that is critical and key to making all of this work.
And Desi, I'm going to stay with you on this next question as we pivot to talking about some of the external changes. So there's certainly a lot you can control when you're doing AI internally, but when you start thinking about all of the shifts in the market, whether that's going from SEO to GEO or the agents that you may not necessarily own, but that are going to be shopping on your site, how do you think through all these things? How do you prepare for it? I think everyone would love to hear Walmart's perspective.
Yeah, we're still figuring that out. But honestly, it goes back to, again, making sure that we've got, all of our things in order, all the assets that we bring to bear, and that we can start to expose those things in a way that can be consumed from an agentic perspective, whether that is from external or how it is that we actually work internally. And I think the other piece of this as well is it comes back to a mindset of learning and experimentation. And so I think the other piece that we've been doing is this is a point in time. There's still a lot that we have to learn. And so making sure that, with things like Sparky, with Hyve, with the agents that we're setting up, that we are setting them up in such a way that we can rapidly do experiments as we work through and navigate the landscape that we're in. There's so many different problems and things that we can solve. We don't know which ones are the right ones, but if we can quickly spin something up, test it with our customers, get that insight, and then iterate, that's gonna make us move even faster. And the same thing is true with helping our associates with their productivity as well. So.
At one of the sessions at Shop Talk Fall, one of the speakers from a brand was saying they're having to do even more testing now. In their case with product videos, they create 4 of every type and they see what works, because at this point they just can't predict at all.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything?
Yes, yeah. So, I think a lot of this falls under what we call Colgate people centricity, which is really a core part of our strategy. So that means deeply understanding a consumer and shopper journey and how they're making the decisions they are at the different touch points along the way. So search and discovery certainly changing right now in today's world. But I would add on to that though. So along with that, there's optimization tactics that brands can use to make sure that our information is visible, whether it's a human or an AI gathering that information, or an agent for someone. But I do think that the role of brand trust is still really critical, even in the age of AI. So Colgate is the brand that is in more households in the world than any other brand. And it's something we don't take lightly. So I think that trust in brands is still something that consumers and shoppers are going to be looking for, even when agents are making recommendations.
Okay. All right. We're going to end with a question for both of you, and it's going to have to be a quick one because the timer is counting down. But big shifts we're going to see in terms of AI usage internally and externally over the next 5 years.
I'll try to keep it simple. I think you're going to, internally, you're going to continue to see more and more a combination of humans and agents and autonomous agents working together to solve problems. That's just going to continue and accelerate. And then for our customers, the experience is just going to become much more personalized. You're going to have a true personalized shopping assistant that's really able to help you with your complex problems.
Completely agree on those. So internally, I think we'll move from this stage of sort of humans using AI tools to human employees and AI employees working together much more synergistically and naturally. And then on the external side, I would completely agree on personalization. I mean, I think there's so much opportunity there. I think what will be interesting to see over the next few years is how consumers build trust with that and with how their data is shared and used with agents. And I think I'm sure that will evolve over the next few years.
All right. Fantastic. Desi, Diana, thank you both so much. And thank you to everyone for joining us.
Thank you.